You've seen the curve. That upward swoop that promises if you just stay patient, your dollars will explode into millions. They call it compound interest, the eighth wonder of the world. But here's the part they leave out. The wonder only appears once you feed the machine something massive. Not small drips, not spare change, not wishful thinking. Real compounding demands a thick foundation, not empty discipline. Let's say you save $100 a month for 30 years and earn 8% annually. You'll have just under $140,000. 3 decades. No vacations, just slow, steady saving. And for what? A glorified emergency fund? Now reverse the game. You start with $100,000. Add nothing. Same return. 30 years later, you have over $1 million. Same time. Different input. Different life. We're told that the key to freedom is time. But that's only half the truth. The other half is weight. A large sum doesn't just grow, it tilts the playing field. Suddenly, growth becomes acceleration, and acceleration becomes escape velocity. So no, it's not your fault if compounding hasn't transformed your bank account. You were sold a model built for giants and told it was made for everyone. But once you understand what's missing, you can start playing a very different game. So, subscribe to the channel and let's begin. Let's kick off this new way of thinking by diving into the illusion most people fall for. And why starting early doesn't matter if you start small. The textbooks say, start young, retire rich. And while that looks poetic in theory, reality plays a crueler tune. Picture someone planting a seed in the middle of the desert. Great intentions. But without fertile ground or water, that seed has no chance. Now imagine someone planting a tree in rich, ready soil. Boom! Fruit within years. This is the difference between compounding $50 a month and injecting $50,000 once. We idolize the story of the janitor who dies with millions. But the part we skip, he inherited land, or bought Coca-Cola when it was trading at the price of a soda. Context matters. Time alone is not a strategy. Time with scale is. Because 40 years of small effort still equals small results. And here's the kicker. The world tells you to focus on habit. Budget, track, automate. You're not compounding, you're coasting. In this video, we're unraveling the full truth. Why compounding only works with a large sum of money and how to finally get there. Not to discourage you, but to reframe your strategy. If you begin young but stay small, you're not building a future. You're building frustration. That's because compounding is less like planting seeds and more like launching rockets. You need thrust, you need bulk, and most importantly, you need to stop thinking in decades and start thinking in deposits. Let's move on to what the wealthy do differently. Something that looks simple, but changes everything. Compounding isn't just about how long you wait, it's about what you put in and when. That's why the wealthy don't drip, they drop. While the rest of the world saves $200 a month and hopes to see fireworks by age 65, the wealthy drop $200,000 at age 35 and let the math do the rest. That's not luck. That's strategy. That's understanding the exponential curve and skipping to the part where it matters. Imagine pushing a child's swing. One person gives it little nudges all day. Another gives it one massive push and watches momentum take over. Compounding is that swing. And money is the force. Small nudges don't create lift. They create false hope. This is why inheritance, business profits, windfalls, and equity events aren't just financial wins. They're time machines. They push people decades ahead on the wealth timeline. And suddenly their growth isn't slow. It's compounding at warp speed. So no, the wealthy aren't just better at saving. They're better at loading. And they don't just wait. They place capital where it multiplies early. Now let's talk about where the average investor gets stuck, and why slow investing might be the most expensive strategy of all. Let's be honest. $100 a month feels good. It feels responsible, adults, mature. But feeling good and doing good are not the same thing. Because here's the problem. Small contributions stretched over long time frames create the illusion of progress while secretly delaying any real result. And this is the cruel twist. The longer you drip, the more you believe you're doing the right thing. But what you're really doing is avoiding the one move that changes everything. Acceleration. 30 years of small deposits can build you a modest retirement fund. Maybe. but it can't buy you freedom, time, or power. And those are the real currencies of wealth. In fact, slow investing often gets eaten alive by inflation, fees, taxes, and life emergencies, leaving you with a future that barely survives the present. You don't feel that loss right away. It sneaks up on you. A decade in, your balance looks decent, but not game-changing. 2 decades later, it's still climbing, but life's climbing faster. Healthcare, college for the kids, aging parents. Your balance sheet never seems to catch up, and worst of all, you're exhausted. Meanwhile, someone who front-loads aggressively for 5 years might never need to touch a budget app again. They built weight. They bought back time. This isn't about shaming small starts. It's about graduating from them, asking better questions, like, what skill, side hustle, or opportunity would let me inject $10,000 this year instead of $2,000? Because one strong leap today beats 1,000 small steps tomorrow. I hope this video is useful for you. Hungry for more? Type compounding below and I'll roll out a feast of fresh content. Now let's talk about the single best return you can get and why it's not in the market. Here's the truth nobody tells you. The fastest compounding engine isn't in the market. It's in your brain. Every dollar you invest in a skill that increases your income is a dollar that keeps multiplying forever. Want proof? Imagine someone earning $40,000. They learn persuasive writing or copywriting. A year later, they're freelancing at $85,000. They didn't just double income. They doubled their compounding base. Every future investment now starts with more. The beautiful thing about skill stacking is that it doesn't rely on luck. You don't need permission. You don't need a bull market. You just need a problem worth solving and the grit to learn something new. And once you do, the returns are exponential. Every raise, every side hustle, every new client adds fuel. Suddenly, investing isn't a chore. It's an overflow. You've got $2,000 left over each month because your skills changed your cash flow. Wall Street can't beat that. No index fund turns $1,000 into $45,000 in 12 months. But a new skill can, especially the ones no one teaches in school. Negotiation, marketing, coding, business building, and emotional intelligence. The trick isn't to stop investing. It's to realize you are the best investment early on. Once your income compounds, everything else compounds with it. Forget waiting for dividends. What if you could create them yourself? That's what every self-made millionaire figured out. First, they built a skill, then a system, then a stack. Let's move into the next phase. The power of systems that spin off money without your constant attention. Skills are the match. Systems are the fire. Once you learn to build systems, businesses, products, funnels, services that run without your minute-by-minute input, compounding stops being passive and starts becoming permanent. Think about it. You can work 40 hours a week for 40 years, or build one system that prints value every day, even when you're sleeping. That's not hype, that's leverage. That's how software founders, agency owners, real estate investors, and authors create assets that keep paying long after the work is done. You don't need to be a tech genius to build a system. A YouTube channel is a system. A cleaning service with contractors is a system. A niche ebook with automated sales is a system. The goal is not to work forever, it's to replace your labor with structures that carry the load. And here's the best part. Every dollar that comes from a system is a dollar you can reinvest. Now compounding has fuel, and you're not the engine anymore. You're the architect. This is the turning point for most creators and entrepreneurs. They stop thinking like employees and start thinking like builders. Systems let your money stay in motion. No interruptions, no ceiling. Next, let's talk about something most people overlook. Protection. Because losing money breaks compounding faster than anything else. Here's the paradox. Compounding works best when nothing exciting happens. No wild gains, no dramatic crashes, just steady, secure growth. That's why protecting your base is not a defensive move. It's the ultimate offense. Warren Buffett's #1 rule? Never lose money. Rule number 2, never forget rule number 1. Why? Because compounding dies the moment your capital bleeds. Let's say you lose 30% in a bad investment. Now you need a 43% gain just to get back to zero. That's not just math, It's lost time. And in a compounding game, lost time is death. The wealthy know this. That's why they diversify. Not because it's trendy, but because it insulates their compounding engine from shocks. They use index funds, real estate, tax-advantaged accounts, and even boring bonds. Not to get rich quick, but to stay rich reliably. Fees matter. Taxes matter. Risk matters. Everything that eats into your base slows the curve. But here's the deeper truth. What you protect today becomes your power tomorrow. That's why the wealthy build moats. They don't just invest, they shield. Trusts, LLCs, insurance, even international diversification. It's all about making sure that once wealth is built, it never bleeds out again. But here's the hard reality. Compounding doesn't reward thrill seekers. It rewards those who build fortresses around their assets. Start with small decisions. Switch from speculative stocks to broad market ETFs. So before you chase the next big thing, ask yourself, does this protect my base or gamble with it? Now let's pull all of this together into the one mindset shift that can change everything. Here's what you weren't told. The real power of compounding doesn't begin until you reach a critical mass. Everything before that is preparation, practice, positioning. If you've been saving $50 a month for years and wondering why your future still feels distant, it's not because you failed. It's because you are following the script that works after capital is built, not before. The shift is simple but radical. Stop focusing on how long you've been investing and start focusing on how heavy your investing becomes. Stack skills that raise your income. Build systems that spin off cash. Protect your capital like your life depends on it, because your future does. And remember, you don't have to be perfect. You just have to be intentional. Start with one skill, one side hustle, one windfall you choose not to waste. The goal isn't early retirement. The goal is early control. That only happens when money stops being something you chase and starts being something that works in your place. Ask yourself, where could I inject weight this year? Because when the compounding engine kicks in, when your capital finally crosses that invisible threshold, it won't feel like magic. It'll feel like justice. So there you have it, the real reason why compounding only works with a large sum of money, and how to finally get there. If this video was beneficial to you, make sure to check out my follow-up video for a comprehensive understanding that builds on what you've just learned. Remember, the purpose of this video is to educate you on various aspects of what you need to know about trading versus investing, and not to give you any specific advice. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe to our channel. I appreciate your support and see you in my next video. Thanks for watching. Until next time, happy financial and abundant life.